Welcome, everyone. We are South Florida Home Finder Team. And if you are watching this, it's because you realize that the rules of real estate have fundamentally shifted. We are in May 2026, and the biggest threat to your wealth isn't a market crash, it is a valuation crisis. For decades, we relied on the appraisal as a fair human assessment of a home's worth. But today, the human appraiser has been sidelined by the AVM, the automated valuation model. Banks are no longer looking for the beauty of your home, they are looking for collateral risk mitigation. In this 2-hour masterclass, I am going to show you how to pull back the curtain on the algorithms that are quietly shaving $50,000, $80,000, or even $100,000 off South Florida properties. We aren't just here to list your home. We are here to mount a valuation defense. By the time we finish Section 6, you will have the forensic tools to force the bank to acknowledge every dollar of your equity. Let's get to work. The rise of algorithmic conservatism. To understand why your appraisal came in low, we have to look at the GSE mandates of 2026. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have implemented new collateral transparency protocols. These aren't just suggestions, they are hard-coded constraints. The invisible enemy is the risk-based pricing adjuster. In the past, an appraiser could use professional judgment to justify a higher price based on the feel of a neighborhood. In 2026, that judgment is being overridden by predictive analytics. The bank's software looks at your zip code and applies a climate volatility discount and a liquidity lag factor before the human appraiser even parks their car in your driveway. This is algorithmic conservatism. The system is designed to protect the bank's balance sheet, not your net worth. If the algorithm sees that 3 homes in a 2-mile radius sold at a discount, even if they were inferior properties, it creates a value ceiling that is almost impossible to break without the forensic evidence we are going to discuss today. Deconstructing the UAD, the C rating trap. Let's talk about the Uniform Appraisal Dataset, UAD. This is the language the bank speaks, and if you don't speak it, you lose. Specifically, we need to focus on the condition ratings C1 through C6. In May 2026, the middle class of appraisals is the C4 rating. A C4 means average condition. It means the home is functional but has deferred maintenance or typical wear. The trap is that many South Florida homes that are beautifully renovated are still being marked as C4 because the appraiser didn't see the infrastructure modernization. To get the valuation you deserve, we have to force a C3 rating. A C3 rating signifies that the physical components have been well maintained and have been recently repaired, renovated, or updated. The difference between a C3 and a C4 checkmark in a market like Pembroke Pines or Coral Springs can be a $40,000 swing in value. The algorithm treats a C4 as a liability. It treats a C3 as a high-performance asset. Throughout this section, we will break down exactly which upgrades trigger that C3 status and why your pretty kitchen isn't enough to move the needle without documented proof of systemic integrity. The South Florida red line effect. We cannot ignore the geographic friction of 2026. South Florida is being treated as a special case by national lenders. Because of the insurance crisis and the new 2026 flood map revisions, banks are applying a resilience haircut to certain neighborhoods. If your property is in a zone that was reclassified in the last 18 months, the bank's valuation engine automatically places a cap on the appraisal. They are scared of future obsolescence. They aren't looking at what your house is worth today. They are calculating what it will be worth in a stressed market in 2031. This is where market velocity comes in. To beat the red line effect, we have to prove that your specific micro market has an absorption rate that defies the regional trend. If we can prove that homes on your street sell in 7 days, while the zip code average is 45 days, we break the algorithm's liquidity discount. This is how we win the war against the bank's math. The forensic roadmap for Section 1. Before we move into the physical infrastructure in Section 2, we must establish our forensic baseline. Identify the AMC. We need to know which appraisal management company the bank is using. Are they local experts or a national clearinghouse using standardized and often incorrect South Florida data? The comparable filter. We must pre-select the comps before the appraiser arrives. We aren't just looking for sales, we are looking for asset twins. The disclosure strategy. We will use the seller's property disclosure not just as a legal requirement, but as a valuation roadmap. The bank wants to treat your home as a commodity. We are going to prove it is an anomaly. Moving beyond the drywall, the bones of the asset. We identified the invisible enemy, the algorithms. Now we are going to build the evidence shield. In May 2026, a South Florida buyer, and more importantly, their bank, isn't buying your furniture or your choice of paint. They are buying the physical integrity of the structure. We have to stop looking at a home as a place to live and start looking at it as a high-performance machine. If you have a Ferrari but the engine hasn't been serviced in 10 years, the car is a liability. Your home is the same. We are going to perform a forensic infrastructure audit on the big 5 systems that dictate 80% of your home's technical value. The big 5 lifespan audit, eliminating technical debt. The term you need to memorize in 2026 is technical debt. This is the cost of repairs and replacements that the next owner will have to incur. The bank subtracts technical debt from your home's value before they even look at the kitchen. The roof, the helmet. In South Florida, the roof is the heartbeat of your insurance. In 2026, an asphalt shingle roof with 10 years of age is considered a depreciating liability by banks. To get a C3 rating, we need to prove remaining useful life, RUL. If you have a metal roof or a concrete tile with a secondary water barrier installed post-2023, you aren't just safe. UAD 2.0 treats this as a long-term capital asset, adding up to $20 per square foot in structural premium. HVAC, the lungs. We aren't just looking for cold air. We are looking for SEER 2 compliance. In 2026, units using old refrigerants are being penalized. If you have a high-efficiency multi-stage system with UV light air purification, we document the BTU to square foot efficiency. We prove to the appraiser that this system lowers the monthly operating cost of the home, which is a key metric for 2026 valuations. Electrical, the nervous system. A 150 amp panel in 2026 is obsolete. To reach a premium valuation, we document the amperage headroom. Does the house have a 200 amp service? Is it wired for EV charging? Is there a whole home surge protector? These are safety and soundness check marks that move you from C4 to C3 instantly. Plumbing, the arteries. Cast iron is the equity killer. If your home was built before 1975 and hasn't been repiped or lined with epoxy, the bank's algorithm applies a 30% risk multiplier. We show the appraiser the video scope of the pipes or the permits for the PVC conversion. This unseen upgrade is worth more than a marble island. Impact openings, the shield. In 2026, shutters are a nuisance. Impact glass is a financial instrument. We document the DP, design pressure rating of every window. This isn't just about hurricanes, it's about the acoustic and thermal envelope. We prove the home is quiet and energy tight. Energy resilience and the zero cost narrative. In May 2026, electricity prices in Florida have made the energy audit a mandatory part of the appraisal defense. We use the HERO, Home Energy Rating Optimization score. If you have added solar extra attic insulation, R38 or higher, or a hybrid heat pump water heater, we calculate the monthly energy savings. We present this to the appraiser as income producing potential. If the house saves $200 a month compared to the neighbor, that is $2,400 a year. Using a 5% capitalization rate, that adds $48,000 of intrinsic value to the property. The bank's algorithm can't ignore the math of savings, building the portfolio of proof. To wrap up section 2, you now know that beauty is skin deep, but value is structure deep. We eliminate technical debt by documenting the big five. We force a younger effective age through systemic proof. We use energy ROI to turn savings into equity. In section 3, we leave the house and look at the external friction. We are going to talk about micro market velocity, shadow comps, and how to protect your borders from being undervalued by the neighborhood's laggards. Plumbing forensics, the end-of-life defense. The bank's algorithm in 2026 treats 40-year-old PVC or cast iron as a total loss risk. If you have performed a pipe bursting replacement or a CIPP, cured in place pipe lining, we must present the video scope certification. We show the appraiser that the effective age of the sanitary lines is 0. Without this proof, the appraiser is forced to apply a condition adjustment for age of major systems. By providing the video evidence, we remove the bank's ability to haircut your price based on the fear of a slab leak. We are selling certainty. The radius conflict fighting the algorithmic net. In the previous sections, we fortified the house. Now we have to protect the borders. In 2026, the bank's automated systems use a dynamic radius filter. This means if a house half a mile away sold for a fire sale price due to a divorce or a foreclosure, the algorithm tries to pull your value down with it. The algorithm doesn't understand that your street is a quiet cul-de-sac while the sale house is on a busy collector road. We have to break the geographic net. We must prove that your home belongs to a micro market, a specific pocket of high demand that doesn't follow the general trend of the zip code. If we don't define the micro market, the bank will do it for us, and they will always choose the lowest common denominator. Shadow comps, finding the data. The bank missed algorithms only see what is on the MLS. But in 2026, many of the highest value sales in South Florida happen off-market or are cash-only transactions that don't always populate correctly in the standard bank databases. These are our shadow comps. We perform a forensic search of the public records to find these high-value, quiet closings. If a neighbor sold their renovated house privately for $950,000, but the bank is only looking at MLS sales of $875,000, I will find that deed. I will contact the parties involved to verify the condition and the terms. We then present this verified data to the appraiser. This forces them to expand their search beyond the easy-to-find lower-price data points. Identifying external obsolescence. Before the appraiser does one of the biggest equity killers is external obsolescence. This is loss of value due to factors outside your control, like a new high-density development nearby or a change in flight paths. We perform a zoning audit. If there is a new green belt protection or a strict infill ordinance that prevents more homes from being built in your area, your home's value goes up because of protected scarcity. Conversely, if the appraiser tries to penalize you for a nearby commercial zone, we counter with the walkability ROI data of 2026. We prove that being 5 minutes from the new smart transit station is a premium, not a detraction. We control the narrative of the location. Data disinfection, defeating comparable contamination. To reach the technical depth required in this 2026 market, we have to discuss data disinfection. When an appraiser pulls a 1-mile radius, they are essentially dragging a net through a dirty ocean. They are catching sales that were distressed, sales between family members, or sales of homes that had catastrophic structural issues that weren't disclosed in the MLS. In Section 3, our mission is to disinfect the data set. We go through every comp the algorithm is likely to select, and we find the value detractors. If comp A sold for $50,000 less than our target price, I investigate why. Did it have an old roof? Was it a probate sale where the heirs just wanted quick cash? We document these negative externalities and present them as an exclusion list. We are telling the appraiser, you cannot use these houses as benchmarks because they are not arm's length transactions. We don't just hope they don't use them, we give them the legal reason to ignore them. Scarcity engineering. The inventory vacuum. Let's talk about the math of scarcity engineering. In May 2026, the South Florida market is no longer a monolith. We have inventory vacuums, neighborhoods where nobody is selling because their interest rate is locked at 3% from years ago. When inventory is this low, the standard comparison approach fails because there isn't enough fresh data. This is where we apply the substitution principle. We show the appraiser that for a buyer to find a substitute for your home, they would have to travel 10 miles away or pay 20% more in a different city. By proving the lack of substitutability, we force the appraiser to look at pending sales and even expired listings to see the price floor. We are proving that your home is the price setter, not a price taker. The evidence box. Philosophy, making it impossible to say no. Welcome to Section 4. We've fortified the house and analyzed the battlefield. Now we prepare the ammunition. In 2026, you cannot expect an appraiser to spend 4 hours researching your home. They are often paid a flat fee and have 3 other inspections that day. The forensic appraisal package is a professional binder and a digital link via QR code that we hand to the appraiser the moment they walk through the door. We aren't being pushy, we are being helpful. By providing organized, verified data, we are anchoring their valuation. If we provide the data first, the appraiser's job shifts from finding the value to verifying our value. This psychological shift is worth tens of thousands of dollars. The anatomy of the portfolio. 5 essential pillars. To reach our technical depth, we have to break down exactly what goes into this package. We don't just throw receipts in a folder, we build a valuation narrative. The master ledger of improvements. This isn't a list, it's a spreadsheet. It includes the date of the upgrade, the cost, the permit number, and crucially, the expected useful life remaining. We categorize these by mechanical, structural, and cosmetic. The permit summary report in 2026, open permits are a deal killer. We provide a clean report showing every permit from the last 20 years is closed and finalized. This removes the legal risk from the appraiser's report. The invisible gallery. We include high-resolution photos of the work behind the walls, photos of the new plumbing lines before the slab was poured, photos of the hurricane straps before the soffits were closed. We are showing them the bones that are now invisible. The micro-market analysis, the Section 3 data. We include our scarcity math and our shadow comps. We provide the map showing why our house is in a superior pocket compared to the bad comps in the area. The energy and resilience audit. We include the wind mitigation report and the solar performance data. We make it easy for them to fill out the energy efficient items section of the 1004 form. Staging for the auditor, not the buyer. We talk about appraisal staging. This is different from buyer staging. A buyer cares about the flowers on the table. An appraiser cares about access and clarity. We ensure that every Big 5 system is easily accessible. We don't want the appraiser struggling to find the attic access or moving boxes to see the water heater. We place technical labels on major components. New HVAC 2025 16SEER2 multi-stage. When an appraiser sees these labels, they realize they are dealing with a high-performance asset. It creates a halo effect They begin to assume that if the garage is this organized and the systems are this well documented, the rest of the house must be in superior condition, C3 rating. The anchor conversation, how to speak appraiser. There is a fine line between being helpful and being intrusive. In 2026, appraisers are wary of undue influence. We teach you the technical handoff. You don't say, I think the house is worth $1 million. You say, we've prepared a data packet that includes the recent CIPP plumbing lining certification and the SEER 2 efficiency ratings to help with your condition adjustment. By using their terminology, condition adjustment, SEER2, CIPP, UAD, you are signaling that you understand the rules. You are treating them as a fellow professional. This builds trust equity. When an appraiser trusts the data you provide, they are less likely to apply risk haircuts to your property's value. We have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the algorithmic redlining of Section 1 to the forensic evidence box of Section 4. I know it feels like a lot. I know it feels like you're preparing for a legal trial rather than a home sale. But here is the truth. In May 2026, information is the only currency that matters. The days of putting a for sale sign in the yard and hoping for the best are over. The bank is playing a game of math, and if you don't bring your own calculator, you've already lost. But now you have the formula. You know how to audit your infrastructure, how to engineer scarcity in your micro market, and how to speak the appraiser's language to protect every dollar of your home's value. You don't have to do this alone. At South Florida Home Finder, we don't just list properties, we act as your chief valuation officers. Everything we discussed today, the digital twin QR codes, the effective age math, the shadow comp investigations, is part of our standard operating procedure. My promise to you is simple. I will never let a lazy algorithm or an out-of-town appraiser dictate your family's financial future. We treat your equity as if it were our own. We spend the hours in the attic. We spend the days in the public records, and we spend the energy at the closing table so that you can move on to your next chapter with the full wealth you've earned. So, what is your next step? If you are planning to sell in the next 6 months, don't wait until the appraiser is at your door. Start your infrastructure audit today. Download the guide. I've prepared a 50-page forensic appraisal prep kit that includes all the spreadsheets and UAD checklists we talked about. The link is in the description below. Get a strategy session. If you want me to personally review your Big 5 systems and build your evidence box, reach out to me directly. Let's look at your property through the lens of an auditor before we ever show it to a buyer. Send me a DM with the word value on Instagram, or click the link below to schedule a 15-minute valuation defense call. No pressure, just data. South Florida is one of the most dynamic real estate markets in the world. It's a place of incredible growth and incredible opportunity. Don't let the bank's risk models tell you otherwise. You have the house, you have the data, and now you have the defense. Thank you for spending these 2 hours with me. It's been an honor to share this knowledge with you. Stay proactive, stay informed, and let's go win that appraisal war. I'll see you at the closing table. Goodbye for now.